Good morning, everyone. No?
How about this? Are you ready for
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to tell them. Good morning, everyone. I expect the program to begin in about 2 minutes, so please feel free to take your seats. Thanks so much for coming. Good morning. Thank you all for being here to celebrate the announcement of the two newest appointees to the Minnesota Supreme Court. My name is Mary Fee. I'm General Counsel and Deputy Chief of Staff to Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, and I'm thrilled to be with you here today. I, along with Aaron Sinberg-Porter, the chair of the Commission on Judicial Selection, co-chaired the merit selection panel that was tasked with recruiting and interviewing candidates for these positions. The panel considered an incredible and talented pool of lawyers, and I want to express my thanks both to the Commission, the members of the administration, and the candidates that put in the hard work preparing the applications and multiple rounds of interviews. To that end, after much deliberation and thought, the governor would like to introduce you to his newest appointees on the court. But first, please stand for the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices of the Minnesota Supreme Court. Next, please welcome Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Finally, please welcome Justice Designee's Chief Judge Sarah Hennessy. And Judge Teddy Gaïtas. Governor, I'll turn it to you.
Please be seated. To our guests here at the Capitol, perfect timing to be here. This doesn't happen very often in Minnesota, the ability to see Supreme Court justices be designated, and it really doesn't happen to see two at the same time. So welcome, everyone. To Chief Judge Siegel, members of the Supreme Court, great to have you here, and I will just stress, great to have your sage advice and wisdom as we think about who serves on our state's highest courts. Chief Justice Hudson, pleasure to have you here, and your advice on making sure we get these picks right is critically important. The thoughtfulness of the selection project, and to Aaron Sinberg Porter and the Merit Selection Panel, the state of Minnesota owes you a debt of gratitude. So, an extraordinary group of finalists for this, Minnesota's best, and that is due to the hard work, the due diligence, and everyone who took the time to give written, verbal feedback on this process over many months. We are grateful. Also like to give how this came out. When we heard of Justice Anderson and Justice Chudich's retirements, we knew it was going to be challenging. And I say that Justice Anderson's one of Minnesota's longest serving Supreme Court justices, served for nearly 20 years, worked tirelessly to uphold the integrity and the fairness of our court system. And I think the one thing is, when you're asked what your legacy would be, the Minnesota Supreme Court is stronger and more committed to the rule of law than ever because of Justice Anderson's work. And because this time this announcement came in too, we were grappling with that loss when another of our revered jurists, Margaret Chudich, also announced that she was going to move on to other things. Justice Chudich is known as a brilliant jurist and a trailblazer. She pushed our justice system to be more fair and equitable. She paved the path for women, members of the LGBTQ plus community who want to serve at higher levels, and I hear it every single day as a role model for what fairness, decency, compassion look like. Justice Chudich was dead. Minnesotans owe a debt of gratitude to the years of service these two gave. And it's two big sets of shoes to fill. And again, I'll go back to the intensive process, and I think our justice designees and all of the folks who on this would agree with us on this. There's a lot goes into this because the position is so important. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of input, and it's also opens up your record, and it opens up your life to very deep scrutiny. And I am, for one, incredibly grateful, and would mention again, every single person who applied to serve the state of Minnesota in this role should be thanked. And I'd like to give them all a big round of applause. When I first had the chance to meet Chief Judge Sarah Hennessy, but at the same time, an incredibly authentic and grounded person that you could feel a sense of compassion, feel a sense of empathy. And I would say, Chief Judge Hennessy, it felt like just a curiosity and a care about the world around her. I felt more certain as this process played out that she was the right choice for this. Chief Judge is a remarkable jurist, over a decade of experience on a district court, and all of the folks in this room would tell you district court time is measured in dog years. And so 12 years is actually 84 years of work on that. And the Chief Judge brought all of those traits of compassion, of wisdom, as a deep knowledge of the law and a sense of justice to that work. She serves as the Chief Judge of the 7th Judicial District. She's a leader of a geographically expansive district that spans from Stearns County to the North Dakota border. She brings a perspective not only of a larger metropolitan area, but the needs and challenges of counties with smaller populations and limited resources. And I do know that, Justice Moore, you've got a companion from Greater Minnesota joining you on the court. So congratulations to that. And Judge Hennessy, similar to Chief Justice Hudson, she comes from a background as a legal aid attorney. It's clear through her work on the district court she'd never forgotten the people behind every case. And I know she'll never lose sight of the reason our justice system exists, to administer justice fairly and be a force for good. With the retirements of Justice Anderson and Chudish, 2 justices going on here, and we're proud, and I think it's listening to the advice we got, adding an appeals court judge was really, really important. Judge Teddy Gaïtas has a unique background. Fortunate to have the opportunity to appoint Judge Gaïtas to the Minnesota Court of Appeals. And what always impressed me about her is an understanding that justice is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. And every time I spoke with Judge Gaïtas, this idea of each case and each individual, that is their day in court, and they need to be heard, they need to be seen, and to the best of our abilities to understand how they ended up there on that day, whether it be plaintiff or defendant, and to be treated fairly in that court. For 15 years before her appointment to the bench, Judge Gaïtas worked as an appellate public defender, representing clients from all walks of life. This experience, coupled with her time on the district court and the Court of Appeals, allows her to bring a unique understanding, is, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the first of our justices to have both District Court of Appeals and now on the Supreme Court all in this amount of time. So Justice Teddy Gaïtas, thank you for your longtime service, and we know that your unique qualifications will bring us one step closer to making our judicial system as fair as it can possibly be. So I have to tell you, this process is humbling for me. Some of you have heard me say this before. When you run for governor, you theoretically understand you will be appointing justices. You quickly understand that what that means is more profound than maybe you can think about, and the impact that it makes and the importance of our separation of powers and what the judicial system does and how much it means to everyday Minnesotans is really hard to sum up. So all of the people involved who make this possible and making sure that these choices are in the best interest of Minnesotans, I am personally forever grateful, and I'm personally grateful to my team that makes us think about this, and we spent many an hour going around and round about all of the implications of these appointments. And I'm just proud to be surrounded by all of the people on my team, and that being the person who's there at the final decisions between the First Lady and our Lieutenant Governor, Peggy Flanagan.
We have this little box right here for myself and Chief Justice. We're small but mighty, Chief Justice. Well, hello everyone. It is such an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. Our Supreme Court is one of Minnesota's most cherished institutions, with a reputation of fairness in its administration of justice. While today is a momentous day, it's also a bittersweet day because we are losing 2 renowned jurists, Justice Anderson and Chudish. You both served our state with great pride and distinction. Your leadership and scholarship and commitment to public service are legacies that will live on for years. You have our immense gratitude. I'm also proud that Minnesota was the first state in the nation to have a majority women serving on its Supreme Court. And as our nation is being faced with state Supreme Courts taking away rights, I'm excited to say that Minnesota's Supreme Court is once again a female majority. Collectively, these 2 picks will bring a wealth of experience that our state's highest court needs during this unprecedented time of transition. Chief Judge Hennessy, your experience as a judge of the 7th Judicial District will bring valuable perspective on how decisions impact our district courts. Beyond your leadership on the bench, your time as a legal aid attorney and appellate advocate bring critical understanding of the needs of those who need an advocate in challenging times. Governor Walz and I value the diversity in geographic practice background and lived experience, and we're so excited for you. Now, with 2 justices on our Supreme Court from Greater Minnesota, more Minnesotans will be represented and heard as we continue to build a judicial branch that reflects all of Minnesota, not just a select few. Judge Gaïtas, your background on the Court of Appeals and District Court, combined with experience as an appellate public defender, will bring a robust understanding of our justice system and those who come before it. As co-chair of the Tribal Court State Court Forum, which is a big deal, by the way, Judge Gaïtas has spent years working to enhance the tribal and state court relationships, collaborate with tribal judges, and ensure our judicial system works for everyone who lives in our state. The governor and I are proud to appoint you to the Supreme Court, where you will continue to work tirelessly, fighting for justice and equality for all people, regardless of race, gender, or socioeconomic status. Above all else today, I hope that every little girl out there watching the news tonight knows that she should dream big, that there is a place for her here at the Capitol and on the Supreme Court. And one of those individuals who has helped more young women dream across the state is our Chief Justice, Natalie Hudson. Please welcome her.
Good morning to everyone, and hello and thank you, Governor Walz, and thank you, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. What a great day, and thank you all for being here this morning to help us commemorate this happy and momentous day. I want to begin by thanking Governor Walz and the Chair of the Commission on Judicial Selection, Aaron Sinberg-Porter, and the entire Commission for their thoughtful and meticulous work in helping to select our newest justices. And I especially want to thank the governor for soliciting my thoughts about the candidates and the court's needs. He did not have to do that, and it was much appreciated by myself and by the entire court. Minnesota is fortunate to have governors like Governor Walz, who support and sustain a merit selection process for judges in Minnesota. And we are grateful, the judicial branch is grateful for all of the hard work that goes into identifying and vetting the highly qualified candidates who have the experience, expertise, and temperament to be successful on the bench. Minnesota has a judiciary that is among the most respected and admired in the nation, and I firmly believe that a large share of that credit is due to the fact that Governor Walz and other governors have supported this nonpartisan merit selection process. Today, as you've heard, is a tremendous day for the Minnesota Supreme Court. It is an opportunity to celebrate the contributions and accomplishments of 2 of our long-term members. It is a chance to welcome our 2 newest members, and an occasion to reflect on the significant changes on our court. To that end, I first want to say a few words about my soon-to-be departing colleagues, Justice Barry Anderson and Justice Margaret Schuetich. It is impossible to sum up Justice Anderson's 20 years of service to our court or his lifetime of service to our state in the moments that have been granted to me today. But the people of Minnesota should know that we are losing a lion in our state's justice system next month, a person who has helped to safeguard and strengthen the rule of law in Minnesota for decades, and who has helped cultivate a strong and vibrant legal community all across our state. Justice Anderson was a dependable, strong voice of reason and fairness on the court. And when the court needed an ambassador, a goodwill ambassador in any part of the state, Justice Anderson always answered the call. He would go anywhere, at any time, to speak to anyone, and we are the better for it. We are going to miss Justice Anderson's grace and humor. I will miss that booming voice in the hallways. Very good, very good. And we will miss his, you always knew when Justice Anderson was on the floor because you could hear him everywhere. But we will also miss his intellect on the court and the wisdom and leadership that he has provided us as a valuable member of the state's Judicial Council, which is the branch's governing body. And I am personally especially grateful for the support he has provided to me during my brief time as Chief Justice, and I have heavily relied on Justice Anderson's wise counsel and advice as I have transitioned into this role. Thank you, Barry. Yeah. Well-deserved. Former Chief Justice Gilday, one of the last things she said to me is, if you don't know, go ask Barry. That was good advice. And we are also going to be losing our friend and colleague, Justice Margaret Chudich. Justice Chudich has been a force of keen intelligence and deep warmth since her appointment, and she has brought an unsurpassed commitment to fairness and equal access to justice to her work on our court. She brought clarity and accessibility to our court's opinions, down to her clarion call to simply spell out the names of organizations and agencies instead of using the indecipherable acronyms that nobody but the insiders understand. And we'll keep working on that, Justice Chudich. Yeah, that's right. Okay, there are some others over here. But as a pioneer, though, in our state's justice system, she has inspired countless Minnesotans through her dedicated service and has generously given so much of her time and energy to mentor and foster the next generation of leaders in Minnesota. And personally, I feel so fortunate to have worked alongside Justice Chudich during our time together on the Supreme Court. We served together on the Court of Appeals, and we also worked together at the Attorney General's office long before either of us were judges. So we've known each other a long, long time. And I am so honored to call you my cherished friend. While we will miss our two esteemed colleagues, I could not be happier to be among the first to congratulate our two new justice designates on their appointments. As Chief Justice, I have had the chance to work closely with Chief Judge Hennessy on the Minnesota Judicial Council, and I can tell you that, as you've already heard, she is one of the smartest, most thoughtful, and dedicated judges we have in the state of Minnesota. She is well-liked and respected by her colleagues in the 7th District and across the state, and our court will be well-served by the extensive trial court experience that she will bring to our deliberations. Judge Gaïtas is also an outstanding choice to serve on the Supreme Court. She will bring, as you've already heard, valuable expertise from her time on the Court of Appeals, the District Court, and as an appellate public defender. And in fact, that's where I first met Judge Gaïtas. She was an appellate public defender, and I was an appellate attorney at the Attorney General's office in our criminal division, and we were frequent adversaries. And that's where we came to respect one another as professional adversaries, but equally important, that's where we became friends. And we have been friends since that time. And I can tell you that she has earned the sterling reputation she has for hard work and her legal acumen as a member of the Court of Appeals. She is someone committed to breaking down barriers to justice and ensuring that all Minnesotans are treated fairly in our courts. And I look forward to working alongside Justice Gaïtas on the Supreme Court. Finally, I want to note that these two new appointments mark the end of a period of major transition on our court. Over the past 6 months, our 7-member court has added 3 new faces and a new Chief Justice. This is no small change for a body that prides itself on being collaborative and collegial. Our court works hard to find common ground on the challenging legal issues that come before us and to work together towards achieving the fairest outcomes. My commitment to the people of Minnesota as their Chief Justice is that our state Supreme Court is going to embrace this new chapter with enthusiasm, with collegiality, and cooperation, and with a renewed commitment to delivering the fairest and best possible system of justice for our state. The pillars of justice are strong in Minnesota, and with these two new justices joining our court, I know they will continue to grow even stronger. Thank you all again for helping us to celebrate this great day for the Minnesota Supreme Court, and thank you to the governor and his leadership in partnership with the Minnesota Judicial Branch. Thank you, Governor. Thank you.
I'd like to now invite Justice Designee Chief Judge Sarah Hennessy to speak.
Thank you. Thank you. I also need the box. Wow. Governor Walz, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, Chair Sinberg Porter, Chief Justice Hudson, all of the members of the judiciary who are here, and the members of the legislative branch, and my family and friends who are here. I am so honored to be selected to serve as an Associate Justice of the Minnesota Supreme Court. Thank you, Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, for entrusting me with this immense responsibility. And thank you, Chair Sinberg Porter, and to your commission and the Merit Selection Panel for all of the work that you tirelessly do to help us have a judiciary that we can be proud of in Minnesota. So I've been a district court judge now in Minnesota for the past 12 years, in the fighting 7th Judicial District, chambered in Mille Lacs County and then chambered in Stearns counties. And I've seen the problems that are facing society every day in my courtroom. And I've seen how legal precedent impacts the lives of Minnesotans every day in my courtroom. It is crucially important that our legal system works to ensure that all Minnesotans have equal access to justice. I became an advocate for improving access to justice the moment I saw the word torts listed on my class schedule the first year of law school. For those of you who are lawyers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I do not come from a family of lawyers. My father was a high school English teacher. He's here today. When I was 5, maybe 6 years old, we moved from Australia, where we had lived for a while, to a small town in Iowa. And my father had to get a second job as a church janitor in order to make ends meet. And my mother handmade all my clothes. I remember they were very lovely, thank you. Lawyers, as I imagined them, belonged to an entirely different world, and one that lived in the large houses that were just off the golf course on the other side of town. And when I went to college, one of my college professors convinced me to pursue a career in the law. But when I saw that word torts on my class schedule, it was a word that I had never seen before. And I was worried that I might not be good enough or I might not be smart enough to do the work at law school. And the legal profession was like a secret club that had its own special language to which I did not belong. And while I have since, fortunately, become fluent in that language, I have never forgotten how entirely unnavigable the system looks from the outside. I promise to continue to work to make sure that our legal system is equally accessible to all Minnesotans. So, Chief Justice Hudson, and to my future colleagues, I am so honored to be joining you, and I look forward to listening to you, learning from you, and collaborating with you, and maybe even arguing with you. To my fellow Chief Judges, there are a few of you who are here today. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your friendship, your wisdom, and your support. And my parents are both here today. Thank you both, Mom and Dad, for everything that you sacrificed for me. My brother Cody is here, and I am so grateful and lucky that you left sunny California to come to Minnesota and hang out with me. Thank you to all of my family, and there are some who couldn't be here, and I appreciate all of their love and support, but my husband and my 2 children are here today as well. Hopefully their teachers will understand why they skipped school. I love you 2 more than I can say in words. Thank you for telling me that you would be proud of me even if I didn't get the job. And to James, thank you for always being my biggest fan. Thank you.
And now I'd like to welcome Justice Designee Tere Gaïtas to the podium.
Thank you. I am so humbled and excited to join the Minnesota Supreme Court as an Associate Justice. As an appellate public defender, I had the incredible privilege of practicing before our Supreme Court, and I still get shivers when I walk into that spectacular Supreme Court courtroom here in the Capitol. It is a dream come true for me to return to that same courtroom as one of the 7 justices of the Supreme Court and to have the opportunity to do the work that I am so passionate about. I'm deeply committed to our state court system and to ensuring that the law in Minnesota is applied fairly and equally. Our state court system is a vital resource for the people of Minnesota, and I want to make sure that we are serving the people of Minnesota well. I have a lot of gratitude to express now, so bear with me. First, for the people who trust me to serve the court and who helped to get me here, I want to thank Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and their whole wonderful team, Chief of Staff Chris Schmitter, General Counsel Mary Fee, Deputy General Counsel Adam Miller, and Assistant Director of Judicial Appointments Katie Funk. Whenever her number would show up on my phone, I would literally have a heart attack. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and thank you all so much. I also want to thank Aaron Sinberg Porter, who, as we've heard, is the chair of the Judicial Selection Commission. And I'd like to thank every member of that commission. Some of them are here today. These people dedicate an extraordinary amount of time to ensuring the excellence of our state court bench, simply because they love the state of Minnesota and the judiciary. So thank you so much. I also would like to thank Justices Anderson and Chudich for your incredible service to the state of Minnesota. I admire you both so much. I've appeared in front of you, and it is just incredible to me to be here today in this situation now, not answering your questions, but getting to hold the podium. Thank you. You are really, really tough acts to follow, so thank you. Thank you for your service. To my soon-to-be colleagues on the Minnesota Supreme Court, thank you so much for the warm welcome that you've given me. And I'm so excited to work with all of you and with my new best friend, Judge Hennessy. I also want to thank Chief Judge Siegel and all of my colleagues and friends on the Minnesota Court of Appeals for your friendship and everything that you've taught me over the past 4 years that I've been on the court. I also want to thank the judges of the 4th Judicial District who were my very first judge friends. And then thank you to all of the extraordinary non-judge friends and all of the people who have supported me in my career and on this path here, including Catherine Middlebrook, the Appellate Public Defender's Office, and Julie Matnich. And of course, I want to thank my family for their love and support. My parents aren't here, but my parents, George and Suzanne, my sister, Angela, my brother, Justin, and then my daughter, the amazing, brilliant, and talented Clea, who is here. And I know that my husband and Clea's dad, who we lost last year, the incomparable Krister, is smiling on us today too. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for joining us here today on this momentous day. Invited guests, I'd like you to follow my colleagues waving over there, Jake and Adam, who will take you to a reception in the reception room. And otherwise, just thanks again and wonderful welcome to our new justice designees.
To the press, we'll stay after they clear out and we'll take questions with our new justice designees.